Hey, how's it going, everyone? I'm very happy to say that today's video is the first part of 4 in a sponsored collaboration with the Coromon team, going over various aspects of the game leading up to launch. Now, when the game's publishers over at Freedom contacted me about doing some sort of sponsorship, I had to be straight with them and be like, I'm gonna be honest, guys, like, I would have just done this for free. And they were just like, oh, cool. Well, now you can get paid for it. So special thanks to these chads. They're giving me full creative freedom and not requiring that I read from any sort of special script or deviate from my honest thoughts and opinions about the game. Anyways, I will leave links to both the Freedom Games and Coromon social media pages, and I'm going to be using a sizable chunk of the sponsorship money to give back to the community and give away some Steam copies of the game when full launch does come. So make sure to subscribe so you get notified for when that happens. Anyways, all of that said, let's dive into the topic of today's video, which is Coromon individuality, or what makes up a Coromon. We'll be discussing the core features that make each individual Coromon unique and how these systems add to Coromon customization as a whole. These systems include Coromon types, how the stat system works, the Coromon trait system, and potential system, which can further be broken down into 2 categories, being allocative and innate potential. But yeah, with all that said, make sure to sit back, relax, and let's dive right in. Okay, so each Coromon can be one of 7 types, which include normal, fire, water, ice, sand, ghost, and electric. Much like the majority of mainstream monster taming titles, these types have different strengths, weaknesses, and resistances, and Coromon will receive a damage boost whilst using attacks of their own typing. Every Coromon is monotype, meaning that it does not have a secondary or tertiary typing. However, Coromon can learn techniques from a plethora of different types, which can oftentimes coincide with their design. And Bavel, for example, is this fire type magma turtle who gets access to a sand type move since magma is made from heated rock. Furthermore, there are another set of types called skill types, which, while no Coromon belongs to these typings, they still have various strengths. You can think of these as offense-only types, and these types include magic, foul, heavy, air, cut, and poison. These types are more attribute-oriented in general, so my guess is that's why no Coromon belong specifically to these categories. If you want a full breakdown of all the Coromon types and how they interact with one another, definitely check out this video linked below where we go over just that. Anyways, while types are definitely an important aspect to how you're going to build your Coromon team, another just as, if not more important aspect is knowing each Coromon's stat spread, which I'm not going to spend too much time on because it's pretty simple and very reminiscent of your typical monster taming RPG, but basically stats can be broken up into a few different categories. These include HP, attack, special defense, and speed. There's also SP, or stamina points for short. However, every Coromon has the same base stamina other than the Titans, at least for now. As for the other stats, if you've played Pokemon or many other mainstream monster taming titles, they work quite similarly. Attack dictates damage output from techniques classified as physical, and special attack does the same, but for techniques classified as special. These classifications are generally dictated by contact, so a physical move or skill would be something like Chomp, while a special skill would be something like Drain. Again, this is not always the case. There are moves that do not make contact, for example, that are physical attacks. Contact actually has its own value, but it's generally the case, more or less. Anyways, defense and special defense both dictate how much damage is reduced from these skills, and HP is your health. Speed, much like you'd expect, dictates your priority in battle. Whoever speed is higher will move first. We will be delving into the nuances like move priority, the aforementioned contact system, and more in our future combat video. Further adding to the individuality of each Coromon is the trait system, which is essentially a list of certain abilities that different Coromon can have. Each Coromon line has a pool of traits it can have, ranging typically from 2 to 3. Upon evolution, your Coromon will retain its trait, unlike games like Temtem and Pokemon, where you have to worry about certain traits changing upon evolution. There are certain traits that are pretty simplistic, like Good Aim, that just increases damage of your critical hits, and we got traits that are a little more situational and complex, like Clumsy Power, that reduces accuracy but raises attack. There are a ton of different traits that a Coromon could have, and ultimately it's up to the player to decide which trait you want to utilize and how you plan on executing them. And finally, we come to the potential system, which, by the way, I did do an entire dedicated video to if you want to check that out for a more detailed explanation. But basically, imagine the IV and EV system from Pokemon, but objectively better. So each Coromon has a potential value between 1 and 21. This one value accounts for the Coromon's total potential and how many potential points it'll have to allocate. More on that in a sec. This 1 to 21 odds is a weighted calculation, so it's not like you have a 1 in 21 chance at a perfect Coromon, so keep that in mind. There are 3 types of Coromon variants that exist with this system. There are Standard, which are the most common Coromon that have a value of 16 or less. You have Potent, which have a value of 17, 18, 19, or 20. You got about a 1 in 35 chance of finding these. And finally, you have your Perfect Coromon, who has a potential value of 21. The different variants come in different palettes, so it's like taking Pokemon's IV system and combining it with the Shiny system, making all Coromon that are shiny or different color palettes good. Now, like I said before, the higher potential you have, the more points you can have to allocate. In battle, you may notice that there are 2 XP bars that are consistently going up upon defeating an enemy. The first one is your XP bar, but the other one's your potential bar. Every time the bar is filled, you can allocate 3 points to any given stat, and the higher your potential is, the more times you're going to be able to do this. These are sort of like EVs from Pokemon, but instead of having to knock out certain enemies to make certain stats go up, you get to allocate them yourselves, and they also appear much less frequently. I personally find these systems a lot less of a hassle than needing to worry about several different inherent values, and then on top of that, needing to worry about finding all of these different spots to take out certain specific monsters to gain specific stat points, and then also needing to worry about not accidentally knocking out other monsters. It just gets really convoluted in my opinion. All in all, while Coromon systems aren't super complex like titles such as Cirillum or the SMT franchise, it provides a very healthy amount of variance between its Coromon stats, move pools, etc. I think that Coromon systems will end up leading to a very fun competitive scene moving forward, and I'm excited to see it flourish. Make sure to let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on the Coromon themselves, whether you want to talk about their designs or what makes each Coromon unique. That said, if you are a fan of the monster taming genre or just Coromon in general, definitely make sure to subscribe to the channel because I put out new videos every single day. You can also follow me on Twitter at GymLeaderEd and check out my Discord. All links will be in the description. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.